Hey, what's up? Ken from Palm Beach Dyno. Today we have Nevin's 2015 Mustang GT on the dyno. It features a Procharger P1x on E85. We're going to go ahead and get our base tune loaded in with the in-gauge tuner with our custom tuning, and then go ahead and do our first hit. We do a lot of these cars, so some of the videos you'll see will make incremental hits. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and hit it full bore on the first hit as long as everything looks good. Obviously, we do monitor things on the data log, and during the pull, if something goes bad, we can lift. But in this case, we're going to be able to do a full pull because this is the same exact tune that we send out for remote tunes on this setup. So let's see what it does on the first hit. Okay, man, that was a pretty healthy first hit. That was even a little bit more than we expected. 860 rear-wheel horsepower and 603 foot-pounds of torque. But let's take a closer look at the graph. The 860 rear-wheel horsepower was at 7,600 RPM, and max torque was at 7,200 RPM, which is typical on a centrifugal. It's going to keep building with RPM. Let's look at the graph itself, though. We got into it about 2,500 RPM. And of course, being a centrifugal, it's not going to make much boost down there. It hits roughly 5 pounds of boost by 4,500, with max boost being 13.8 at the very top where we lifted. And as you can see, power is still climbing. We pulled up just a little bit short at 7,600 RPM. But as is obvious by the graph, centrifugal car just usually pulls and pulls and pulls with RPM, especially at the higher boost levels and on E85 where we can have the tune set up 100% properly. So Rob's going to go ahead and make a couple changes to this tune, and we're going to go ahead and do another pull. We're not expecting big gains from this, of course, because we're already at 860 rear-wheel horsepower on a stock engine, but we're going to try and creep it up closer to that 900 mark, maybe 880, so we'll see. All right, nice little gain there, 866 and 607. On paper, that's 6 horsepower and 4 foot-pounds of torque. It doesn't sound like a lot, but let's look at the dyno graph and see some other important parts that we made some improvements on. If you look, well, first off, the peak power did move up 100 RPM, and so did the peak torque. But the most important part is this area right through here. This is something that doesn't show up in these numbers because this area isn't peak horsepower or peak torque, but it's a very important part of the graph. So let's look at it. So right here at 3,500, we went from 394 horsepower to 394 foot-pounds of torque to 59 foot-pounds of torque. So, you know, we're talking a huge amount of torque right there, and also over 40 horsepower, 43 horsepower to be exact. So we made some changes to the tune there that we saw that could bring in the torque curve a lot flatter. As you can see, it came in a little bit flat and then went up. This is a much flatter torque curve for a Century especially. So this is great. But let's keep going. We may be able to make some more gains over this, but 866 and 607 is awesome. Another thing to point out, if we're talking about dyno graphs, is we went from 13 peak to 15 peak. Did it make 2 more PSI all of a sudden? No. This is peak boost. So when you're looking at that, you got to look up here on a Century, right? The power is going to go up and up, or the power and the boost is going to go up and up and up. So here, it just has to do with where we let out and all that, and you're going to see differences there. But as you can see, it didn't act like it made any more boost. Up here, it made just a hair more. We pulled it a hair more, but you know, boost didn't change. So when you ask somebody what boost they're on or max boost and all that, it's going to be interpreted differently by everybody. If we would have did the first pull and not done any more pulls, we can say it's 13 pounds. The second pull, it made 15 pounds. Which are we going to tell people that it made? I don't know. If it was my car, I'd probably tell them 10 pounds so I could get a good race. Anyway, let's go ahead and make some edits and see what it makes. Okay, well, I wasn't sure there was more to be picked up there, but we did. 878 horsepower and 606 torque. As you can see, the torque is staying pretty close to the same, but we're picking up horsepower, so let's see exactly how we pick that up. So again, the story is right here. Peak power keeps moving up. It didn't move up a bunch there. We're at 7,700, almost 7,800. So if you can look at these two dyno graphs, you know, and here's another instance of comparing two dynos and seeing which car makes more power. Here's the same car with 10 more horsepower. Well, where did it make 10 more horsepower? How did it make it? If we look at the dyno graph, it's about the same the whole way up. I mean, look at that. You couldn't draw a line better over it. The gains are here. Is this significant? Sure. It's making more power in this area, but the difference between the performance of these two cars, you know, with perfect driving, the green one's going to win, but it's not like it's making 10 more horsepower everywhere. So this is another factor in, you know, evaluating dyno graphs. In fact, you know, if you really want to split hairs, I've seen people post boost numbers with a 10th accuracy. I made 14.3 pounds of boost, or 15.6, forget the point. All three of these pulls, same exact car, just depending on where you lift, 13.8, 15.3, 15.1. You know, so these numbers are tuning tools and to help you get in the ballpark, but to evaluate a dyno graph based off this number alone is a little bit misleading. Anyway, I think we could still pick up just a hair more. We got a cool down coming, and then we'll make probably one more hit and see what she makes. Okay, that pull was 863 and 598 torque. We lost a little bit across the board there, but in dyno tuning, you're also dealing with tire temps, heat of the engine, and all that stuff. So you can't make rash decisions on one dyno pull like this. So the next step, as you can see, the graph looks awesome. It's smooth all the way throughout, perfect. It's just a hair down across the board. So, right now what we have to decide is that heat related, or was a tuning change made to affect that? Now, we do a lot of these cars and we already know the answer to that. This is heat related. So what we're gonna do is let the car cool down, let the tires cool down, get it more back to a baseline number, which is gonna be closer to what the car was dynoed here, and hopefully we'll hit a new high. If not, this is awesome numbers as it sits. So we'll go ahead and let the car cool down a little bit and make another pull. As far as boost, the other thing you can see is it actually made a little bit less boost, even at the same RPM range. So is the belt getting hot, and are we seeing a little bit of slip? These are the types of range of number change that you're not gonna feel. You may not even see at the track, but when you're on the dyno, you can see it. So boost was down a little bit, power was down a little bit, probably all related to heat. So let's let it cool off and see what happens. Okay, we're set up here on the dyno to do the last final cool down. I want to introduce you guys to Nevin. It's his car. It's a P1x Procharger. What do you think of the power this thing's making?
It's crazy, man. I never thought it would make this much.
We're expecting like mid 700 or something like that.
710.
710. Yep. So E85 is the magic fuel. Rob's gonna get the car fired up right now. We're gonna see what it makes on this last pull. $892! Oh boy! 622 torque. Alright, that'll show you what a nice little cool down will do. We did make a couple little tweaks to that, but this is mostly from the cool down. We got 892 horsepower and 622 torque. Let's take a look at the graph. As you can see, the dark blue line is the new one. It's up pretty much the whole way, and the gains up top are here. Some of this is tuning changes, a lot of this is cool off. All right, we're gonna call this one good. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook. Please share our videos on YouTube. We're really trying to push the YouTube channel this year, so the more followers we have, the better it's gonna succeed and the more videos we can bring you. Anyway, next up, we're gonna be doing a dyno video on how to interpret dyno graphs and read dyno graphs and determine what the power curve is going to do for you in the quarter mile. We'll be releasing that one in about a week, so stay tuned.